Citizen Television.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Planetary Persuader. I'm your host KozMcKev, and this is the weekly horoscope starting Friday, May 21st, going all the way till Friday the 28th of May 2021. And what do we got going on today? Well, it looks like weird, but anyhow, Anurata. Let's talk about this full moon that's happening early Wednesday morning. It's in the constellation of Scorpio, totally in the sidereal zodiac, and Anurata is ruled by Saturn, and it's all within the constellation of Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars. And so in the sidereal zodiac right now, Sun's in Taurus. It's not in Gemini. If we were to look at the constellation, the actual constellation, cosmically speaking, that the Sun's going through. And it's in the lunar mansion of Critica, which is also ruled by the sun. So, that's why we're hearing these new truths that people thought would never come out. And, yep, here they are. Got to deal with it. How are you going to deal with it? But it's never too late to be loving, people. That's the main thing. It's be loving, to everyone, regardless of what they are. And don't pick teams, Don't discriminate for someone just because they can't help it if they're whatever they are, and that even goes for privileged white males who are cisgender, they can't help it. They are what they are, and they deserve love too. That's the truth. Anyhow, we've got ourselves right now the moon in Virgo, but when the moon goes into Western Sagittarius, sidereal Scorpio, and it peaks in the full moon, it'll be a lunar eclipse. So there could be earthquakes, there could be some weird weather patterns this week. But going back to Anurata, Radha was Krishna's consort in a love affair. And so she was just beautiful. And they had, Krishna had his pick of any woman he wanted, but Radha, she made it happen. They couldn't get enough of each other. And the thing about Anurata, it's about making relationships with opposite sides. It's being a double agent. It's not being on a team, but it's trying to be a good person and be friendly. It's like living in other different cities and stuff, And then nobody can help who they are. So it's that's what I want to say. It's nobody can help who they are. Just let them be who they are. At the same time, I would say, I would also mention that, traditional people who are two-spirit, didn't use hormones. So, other than maybe herbal ones or something, So that's different than today. Today it's better living through chemistry. That's why we have Roundup. It gives you cancer, but you know what? It's progress, it's science. That's what they said about DDT. It's progress, it's science. That's what they say about, the shots. It's progress, it's science. Okay. You can go with that. But anyhow, let's go sign by sign. And we are beginning with you, Aries. So, greetings, Aries, and welcome your horoscope. What do we got here? We've got Mars in Cancer. And so Mars is in the 4th house. And so we're concerned primarily with our inner happiness, our inner life. Where are we going with that? How are we going to work with that? And you can cut stuff from this, Martin. We've got Venus, Sun, and Mercury, from what I understand, still in the constellation of Gemini, and Mercury is going to go retrograde on Sunday. So Sunday this week, Mercury goes retrograde. So things get really confusing. Things get a little bit weird. And so this is not the time to buy technology. Next 3 weeks, don't buy technology. Don't necessarily get something until Mercury goes direct, unless you really had planned it all along. And so there's that. Venus is in Gemini, and it will be in Gemini it's in Gemini in both systems this week. So, the thing I like about the sidereal Gemini is they believe that Gemini was looking for the sacred marriage. It was the male and female that, were in the sacred relationship. They were consorts. And so it's something that the majority of us look to. It doesn't mean that if you're looking for the same, you're any less special. You're still special. But this is kind of what kept life going on before we had, almost 8 billion people on the planet. So it's understandable that things would be put to an end. Anyhow, you're very good at being for yourself this week, but the moon is helping you get out of yourself. And it's actually a romantic weekend because the moon's going to be in Gemini in your 7th house. So enjoy yourself, Aries. Okay. Greetings, Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope. This is all about Venus, And now that the sun's in your 2nd house, it's all about money, it's about values, it's about turning the page towards something more valuable. It's finding your voice, too. You're finding your voice. And Mercury going retrograde, so no wonder I say a bunch of crazy stuff today. It's because Mercury's about to go retrograde, and I can, put my foot in my mouth this week and go, well, and then I have to have a disclaimer and a bunch of apologies and all that. It's hurt feelings in the era where we are emotionally as strong as wet tissue paper. And, yeah, don't trust me. I'm from that generation where we didn't wear helmets and we were in back of pickup trucks and, all that. And, that was the time. Was it fun? I'm not supposed to say so because I'd be encouraging your own suicide. There's other forms of suicide they encourage though now. But they're politically correct and they're part of the narrative, so support them. Oh boy, there we go. Let's continue on with this. This weekend for Taurus, it's about helping others and doing work for others and seeing ways that we can enhance our life, improve our life, be more involved with other people. That is it. And Uranus is here in your 1st house, so things are still kind of unpredictable in your life. That just goes without saying. We've got retrograde Pluto in Capricorn, and so even our learning is going to have to be revised. I'm going to have to relearn. Sometimes I think we're going to have re-education camps, just like they do in China and America. We want you to go and be a part of the agenda. Why are you not submitting to the narrative? You will be much more happy. We have a special shot for you that will make you docile and do what we say and be happy. Now you can travel. You're happy. Don't worry about that blood clot. That's okay. Sterilization. Don't worry about that. You can't sue us, but that's therefore we're not liable. But you were doing the right thing, so that makes you a good American. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. Let's go over to Gemini. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. Let's see now. Well, I mean, this is really going to affect you a lot. I mean, Venus is in your first house, so I mean, you're looking good. You know, you've never looked better. So much love, and so much curiosity too. You know, and that's part of love. You never stop being curious. You know, it's like, I wonder what that would be like. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, it's like when a new restaurant opens up or something. You're like, I wonder what that food tastes like. You know, it's not like so much of a thing of portrayal. You used to only go to our restaurant. No, it's, you know, it's the way people are. You know, sometimes you're just kind of curious. You know, and you know, the nature of Venus is there's never enough love, and Mercury, there's never enough technology, and there's never enough friends, and there's never enough money, and so Mercury's going to go retrograde. So a lot of things dealing with money. You know, there's going to be some booms and busts in the next few weeks. Some things are going to crash. Some things are going to go up like a freaking helium balloon. And I'm not an expert in the astrology investment thing, but there are people who are. And so this would be something to look at this week. I mean, I think that your search for a soulmate sounds good, but like career-wise, that's kind of where the action is for Gemini. You're going to be doing better, and they, you know, they may offer you one position and say, no, we're going to write you something special so we can even give you more money. I'm like, whoa, that sounds great. I want it. But you know, the other thing is that Rahu in the first house makes you put on a disguise. You know, and I think largely a lot of things with people being dissatisfied with, you know, the outfit nature gave them and stuff, it's like, it's Rahu, you know, that does that, you know, because we've all had past lives and this is our new life. And Rahu's like, okay, I want you to deal with this karma differently than you did in the last life. So that's another, the North Node, slicing and dicing it up. But you're the flavor of the month, Gemini, so don't let that get you down. Greetings, Cancer. And welcome to your horoscope. So as far as Cancer goes, Mars is still in the first house. So that gives you courage. It gives you an ability to want to discover things. It gives you an ability to want to move forward in many different aspects of your life. So that's, you know, that's part of the important thing right now. Is just moving forward with many different aspects of your life. And that's what we want to see right now. We want people to all come forward. This isn't a time to be concerned about being right as much as it's a time to be concerned about happiness and being happy. And I think with Jupiter in your ninth house, it supports like spiritual love, happiness, generosity, major good fortune. Neptune's there, so anything that you're studying in religion and spiritual advancement and higher education, even foreign travel, all of that's going to go extremely well for you right now. Okay. Well, hello, Leo, and welcome to your horoscope. Okay. So for you, we've got this full moon that's an eclipse, and it's going to be in your fifth house, so that could be good. Or it could be, you know, challenging. So it's like I would be paying attention to my children this week because it's the children that are going to be affected by this. Let's also look at Mars. I mean, not so much Mars. I mean, Mars is in your 12th house, so it's like that could be secret enemies. Malefics tend to do good in the Dhisthana houses, though. They tend to do good in the 12th, the 6th, and the 8th. I mean, Dhisthana is not a Western astrology term. It's a Vedic astrology term. But they tend to be the harder houses. And that's why no one likes Virgo, Scorpio, or Pisces. No, it's just, I'm just kidding. That's not really true. What's going on right now for you is you are really open to learning more about the occult and about spirituality and what your karma is in this life and how you can improve it and how you can make it better. So that's going to be all in Leo's favor. I mean, that's something that's going to go good. So, and the Sun in Gemini is about your social life. It's about older siblings if you have them, or older friends that can bring helpful opportunities to you. And so this could actually bring some financial success to you as well. There, I said it. Well, greetings, Virgo, and welcome to your horoscope. Well, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting week. I think the full moon is going to affect your own emotions and your happiness. So in a way, as a Virgo, especially like Virgo Lagna, Virgo rising, I mean, well, not so much Virgo Lagna, that'd be Vedic, but you are going to look at your relationship with your mother and connect the dots with that and how that was what affected you. I know people have had good mothers. I think that's most of them. But I've also had people that have had very challenging relationships with their mothers that were injured from their mothers. I know mothers that continue to injure their children because they're not right with themselves. And if this is the case for you, Virgo, that stuff is going to come out by Wednesday. And it's also about the ancestors, learning information about your heritage and your ancestry. And so there's things moving forward in that. And so a lot of times, like if you move to a small town where there's not a lot of people, you can become a resource as a person. But if you're living in a big city where there's already too many people, it's very competitive. It's not quite the same, and it's harder to be seen as a resource. It's just, you're like an extra in an already inflated, humanly inflated scenery. And during the lockdown and the pandemic, these are the places where people experience the most discomfort from the coronavirus. And it's also known that people in cities are losing their natural biome and gut culture. They often have jobs where they're locked inside all day, and it's not very healthy. So do things to make yourself healthy, Virgo, because that's what you're all about. And relationships are getting better, and you're doing good at work, and we'll just leave it at that and go to Libra. Greetings, Libra. Welcome to your horoscope. And as I said before, this weekend is all about you. This weekend, you are the star of the show. Gemini, another air sign. It works really well for you. Gemini's, kicking it in your 9th house. It's a house of good fortune. It's a house of spirituality. It's a house of adventure. It's a house of higher education. It's a house of foreign languages, foreign cultures. And it's just opening yourself up to all kinds of things. And it's just so easy, to make mistakes, cultural mistakes in these times, but a lot of times people know, hey, they're the foreigner, let them say the word the wrong way, it's okay, it's kind of cute, it's even charming. Yeah. So, I mean, unless they're, living in Vancouver and they're mad at you for the lockdown, that they blame your ethnicity, that's not so healthy, that's not so happy. So maybe if you live in Vancouver, BC, give these people that are being attacked a little extra love, a little extra respect. Let's improve relationships with each other, be allies with each other so that we don't hurt each other. That's the main deal. It's we don't want to hurt each other. Yeah, so that's why inclusiveness is the name of the game here. And Libra loves it. Libra loves that kind of stuff. All right. So, greetings, Scorpio, and welcome to your horoscope. So we're going to have a moon in Scorpio this week. That's going to be Monday and Tuesday. And so Monday and Tuesday are like Scorpio power days. And Gemini is 8 signs away from Scorpio. So there's some weird commonality Gemini and Scorpio have, and you know, some people really despise both of those signs for different reasons, and some people, you know, love one and hate the other. I've heard every number of scenarios, and once again, it's just picking teams and generalizations and prejudices and stuff, and it's like, you know, we you know, for one thing, first of all, Scorpio, all of us are every sign of the zodiac. So if you have a sign of the zodiac you don't particularly seem to like, there's a place in your chart, your horoscope, where that sign resides, and that's you. That's still you. It may not be your sun sign, but there's other things happening, planets pass it by that activate it. So at times, things will activate that. Like say you don't like Libra. Libra's in your 12th house. You know, 12th house can be a house of loss. So you're at loss with that relationship. And so it takes extra work to make that relationship better. You know, you might feel indebted to that relationship. Just as an example, Venus is in the 8th house, Sun's in the 8th house, Mercury's in the 8th house, Mercury's retrograde. So, I mean, you're really interested in the occult and magic, and in some ways, in Gemini time as a Scorpio, you feel more Scorpio than ever because of the Sun transiting the 8th house. So, keep on doing the Scorpio thing, and things will be good. All right. So, greetings, Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope. Well, this full moon coming up is all about you, and it's an eclipse. So this is going to be a really unusual full moon. It's going to be a really unusual placement for you. And so things that happen could really affect you strongly emotionally, strong emotions, you know. And I'd say especially the first half of Sagittarius, those of you in the first half. So, you know, Tuesday night, Wednesday, things could feel a little dicey, a little bit weird. There might be more seismic activity. But you're working on inner happiness. You're working on inner peace. And if you create that altar and you create this like daily getting up and meditating, if you help people, do a little volunteer work, give a little donation to the poor, you'll be uplifting others. And that's what's ultimately really important for all of us, you know. And even better, if you're uncomfortable with somebody that's doing something, it's like, well, what can I do to uplift you? What can I do to help you in this situation feel better? I mean, that's going to be good karma. That's, you know, it's something I see I need to do myself. It's like, let's help some of these people that I feel uncomfortable with, you know, and that could be all different kinds of things, whether it's, you know, immigrants or mechanics or soldiers or whatever it is, you know, or clowns you have problems with, you know. I mean, it doesn't matter. Somebody who's adopted a lifestyle you think that's life-threatening, you know, you help those people in some way. Your own karma gets better because you see their humanness. That's yeah, and that's really it. And relationship-wise for Sagittarius, you know, you got the love vibe going on strong. All right, now, greetings, Capricorn, and welcome to your horoscope. So for Capricorn, Saturn's still making the rules. It's in your second house. There's a big focus on money right now. As far as relationships go, you've got this relationship with Mars going on right now. And it's almost like Saturn and Mars are sort of like enemies, but they're not. They're kind of like the two planets that get the grand title of malefic, although sometimes people call the Sun a lesser malefic. I mean, what's that supposed to mean? It's like, yeah, we like you, but, you know, you kind of bug us because you get too hot in the summertime and we're sweating, and, you know, your light's so intense, and we want to just go to sleep and sleep in the day. I mean, you know, that's... but Capricorn, like, you know, you deal with things practically. And you understand the value of money, and you understand the value of good relationships, and you understand the value of business, and so you want to act on that. And so, like, you know, sometimes Mars in the 7th house is open enemies, you know, and so people, you know, might call you out. I have this one friend named Dan, and he says, you know, don't call people out, call them in. I thought, this is like one of the most beautiful things anyone has said. You know, it's like, let's get deeper. Let's get deeper into your heart as to why you're uncomfortable with the situation. And that's what's going to ultimately make us all better people. It's like, you know, no one gets canceled. Everyone is worked with, and there's hope. And I mean, and I don't mean a re-education camp. That just sounds so freaking weird. But they're doing it. There's this country overseas where they're doing it. Yikes. I mean, to be a Uyghur in China. Oh my gosh, those poor people. Greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Saturn in the first house. You're the one who's making the rules. You're the one who's causing this whole action thing, making limits, bringing an eccentric, unusual agenda. And I remember one time Swami Beyondananda once said, when the Republicans held everything, it's just like when one group controls everything, you're kind of running on one wing. And when you're running in one wing, you just kind of go around in a circle, and that's, I guess, what's happening now in the whole Democrat thing. And so we all have to acknowledge each other's humanness and somehow work on a way of getting together. And it just seems like it doesn't matter what party's in power, they always help billionaires first. It's billionaires first. Billionaire. I mean, you would think that's what BLM means. Billionaires' lives matter. Because they always get their way and get their stuff. And it's the reality of it. And so, in the words of Bob Dylan, who's turning 80 years old this week, his money doesn't talk, it swears. And there's no other part of that, in that song. And so we just have to be conscious. One of the things Saturn's conscious is about people who are left out, and they're not getting their needs met, or people that are discriminated against. I mean, we got all these laws against people not getting discriminated against because of gender or race and things like that. But there's people that are discriminated against also because of they're not a protected class, and so there's an assumption of privilege, and sometimes that assumption, when we make assumptions, we end up hurting other people, and that's the sad part. And Aquarius, I know you're the type of person that doesn't want to make assumptions about anybody and loves the world for diversity, and so I think you're going to make the world a better place this week. Full moon's going to be very social for you. And we're going to go to Pisces now as we're wrapping this whole thing out. Greetings, Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope. So we've got Jupiter and Neptune in your first house. I mean, Jupiter and Neptune both are spiritual planets. They both create a mood of devotion. They also... Neptune brings about empathy and a universal concern that's beyond just the benefit of yourself. Some say it's the higher octave of Venus. It's having agape love. Jupiter, it's about having a direction that's expanded and taking risk and acknowledging gratitude and how much good fortune. And so it's like, I'm really glad you put up with me this week and listened to this horoscope, how weird it is. We've got this full moon in your midheaven, in the 10th house on Wednesday, early Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. And it's an eclipse in what we, for tropical Sagittarius. And so how are our relationships with other countries? How are relationships internationally? How are relationships with the aliens? Because now they've admitted, yeah, there's aliens. We've been out there with them. So, I mean, in a way, this is a week where a lot of truth about cosmic consciousness and that we're not alone is going to come out. And the beautiful thing about Pisces is there's imagination and there's empathy. And it wants to accept everybody in that big sea of wonderfulness. So enjoy that big sea of wonderfulness. And if there's an earthquake, it's not going to matter what our political party, our gender, our race, or anything is. We're all going to get together and help each other. So that's a promise. And I'm hoping to see you next week when we do this again. KozMcKev, Planetary Persuader. Checking out.